Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Amanda and today we're going to be chatting through all the books I read in the month of June. Apologies in advance if you hear my AC in the background or a fan. It is boiling hot here in Alaska right now. We are in a major heat wave, as a lot of the states in the United States are, and we're just dying. At least I'm dying. Like, this is so hot. It's supposed to hit like 90 on Sunday and I truly don't know if I'm ready for that. But with my wrap-ups, I'm introducing a new little thing where I draw a prompt, and whatever I draw I have to do my wrap-up in that way. So last month I did tops and bottoms, which was really fun. So I took that one out so we won't have it again. So we're just gonna go through this whole pile and then I'll add them all back in, and maybe some new ones. So leave me any suggestions for ways I can structure my wrap-ups. I would very much appreciate it. But let's see how we're gonna do it for this month. So here's our slip of paper, and it says organized by Goodreads average rating high to low. So that is what we got. So this is gonna take me a little bit of time. So I'm gonna go on Goodreads and we'll organize them high to low. And that's what we're gonna do. Okay, that took me a little bit of time, but like not too bad. So at the top of the list, the highest average rating book I had was a 4.57, which is really good. And that is Spy Family Volume 4. I am just truly obsessed with this manga series. I haven't read manga since I was like in middle school, so I am loving getting back into manga. So if you have any like cozy recommendations similar to Spy Family, please let me know, because like I'm obsessed with this kind of subgenre. So this one was really good. I don't think I rated it as highly as the previous volumes. I give it 4 stars, which I think I might have given the rest of the volumes so far, but I really enjoyed it though. Like, it's just a fun, good time, and the characters are just great, and I do want to watch the anime. I think that'd be really fun. So like I said, give this one 4 stars. Honestly, don't have too many thoughts. I'm really just reading it for a good time. Next up is Lore Olympus Volume 3 by Rachel Smith, which has an average rating of 4.52, and this one I think I liked more. I definitely like this one more than Volume 2. Volume 2 to me was just, it almost felt like a filler volume. Like, I feel like not a lot happened and I just didn't totally love it, but I really enjoyed this volume, and I'm just impressed every time I read this series how well Rachel Smith depicts characters and their emotions. Like, to be able to express so much emotions from characters in like a comic style is just really impressive to me, and they look so lifelike. So I give this one 4 stars. Again, just reading this for enjoyment. I really need to catch up. I think volume 5 or 6 is coming out later this year, and I really need to catch up. But I've been checking them out from my library, but as I've been saying in like every video of mine, my library is closed for like a year for renovations, so it's been a bit of a struggle to get books from the library, even though they do have like another branch open and they do have a different space like that they're renting for books that you can like get. It's just more of a struggle, to be honest. So I really haven't been using my library much, and I don't really want to buy these because I'm on a really strict buying ban because I really seriously can't afford it. So not right now. I'm like really trying to save my money, so I'll get to it when I get to it, but I really do enjoy this series. Next up, with a 4.3 average rating, we have Shadow Princess, which is book 4 in the Zodiac Academy series. I just read this series for a trash fire good time. This series honestly makes a great palate cleanser after reading some really dense, heavy fantasy, because there ain't much to really be thinking about in this series. Like, I feel like there's not a lot of complex things going on. It's just a lot of drama, some bullying that's not great, but you know, it's an interesting time to say the least. So this one I gave 4 stars. Now, I'm not quite remembering why I gave it 4 stars, because I remember kind of skimming the last like 100 pages because I was getting really tired of this book. Like, this book was too long for me. I don't know why this needed to be, I don't even know how long this book is, like almost 700 pages. For what? for why. Like, as much as I think this series is fun, I just don't think these books need to be this long. So I like this one good enough, and I am caught up with my friend in book club, so her and I can go into book 5 maybe together and be on track with one another to talk about our thoughts. But this one was like fine, and there's only like one relationship in this book that I am like wholeheartedly here for and like I'm obsessed with, and I really want to see that go further. And there's also some relationships that I would like to see happen but I don't think will, but like that would be so fun. But this series, yet again, is just pure entertainment. It's bad, but it's a good time, and I'm just trying to get caught up because I think there's 8 books, possibly 9 in the series, but I'm just kind of reading these as I have time. The next book has an average rating of 4.19, which is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. So going out of order with this series because I did reread Ninth House earlier in the month, but we'll get to that book eventually. But I really enjoyed this book. But I do feel like this book just had one mission, and that mission was accomplished right at the very end of the book, and I do feel like that's very predictable considering where book 1 left off. I feel like it was inevitable that this book would be solving that one singular issue that book 1 left us with, which is fine. I just wish there was maybe some more subplots, some more things going on the side that tied into that main storyline, but that really was what this book accomplished, is the problem that book 1 left us with. So while it accomplished that, I feel like it just was a very one-track mind book. Like, we are here to do one thing and one thing only, and that's it, which is fine. I just feel like I needed more personally from this book. I feel like some side quests almost would have been great for the characters, but I still really enjoyed it. I love the writing of this book. I love the characters, and we definitely had a lot more character growth of side characters, which I really appreciated because there's some side characters introduced in book 1 who I was really intrigued about. We just didn't get a whole lot from them. This book, I feel like we expanded on a lot of them because of the journey that these characters are going on. We had more of a chance for them to be vulnerable and kind of get into their head in a certain chapter. So I did enjoy that, but like I said, this book needed some side quest or something instead of just that one singular one-track mind plot, because it was just a little boring in that aspect, but I was still fully here for it. Like, I gave it 4 stars. I still really enjoyed it. It just needed a tad bit more for me. Next up is a book I gave 5 stars to, and it's one that I just am obsessed with, and it's one I didn't know I would give 5 stars to, but as soon as I started it, it was inevitable. So that book has a average star rating of a 4.13, which is way too low for this book, and that is Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. I'm obsessed with this book. It is so good. Like, all of the characters in here are so messy but so good, and they were truly so realistic. Like, I think I talked about it in the vlog where I read this book, but I just ranted and raved about this book and how the characters were just so real, and they were just so vulnerable, and they had so many like issues, but yet there was still like a cute romance going on, which we just love to see. So to pitch this book to y'all, which I'm going to completely butcher, so please just read this book and ignore me stumbling over trying to explain this. So we follow our main character, Delilah Green, and she grew up with her stepsister, not remembering her name, Astrid, and Delilah always felt like the odd one out in her family because her father married this other woman who had Astrid, and it was just kind of an awkward situation. And so as soon as she possibly could, Delilah got out of there and moved to New York and is living in a small apartment, kind of just sleeping with women as she pleases without relationships. And she also runs a, I believe it's photography kind of business, and that's how she like makes her rent and money, and she really wants to be part of this gallery that would have her art in it and would just be huge for her. And then we also get a little bit from Astrid, who is getting married and is hiring Delilah to be her photographer. So Delilah reluctantly goes back to the small sleepy town that she grew up in with her stepfamily and runs across one of Astrid's best friends. I'm forgetting her name, Claire. And we kind of go from there, and there's like a little romance between them. And Claire has a daughter, I'm forgetting her name, and she's also going through kind of a breakup. Is it a breakup or divorce? I can't remember. But Claire, fiance or boyfriend or whatever, is like very unreliable, and Claire has a really hard time letting her daughter spend time with him because one day he just will up and leave for like a month, a year, whatever, and be gone, and her daughter will just be devastated from that. And Claire just doesn't want her to keep going through that, so she's like trying to keep her away from him, and it's just a whole thing. So I just love this book though. Like I said, like it's messy people but with great relationships, and like I was just here for it, and I was just squealing and crying, and it was just an amazing time, and I give it 5 stars. I think this is like my first 5-star of the year. It feels like I honestly have given out like no 5 stars this year. This year has been pretty bad for reading, but hoping to turn it around in like the second half, but we'll see. So truly love this. Please read this. It was amazing. Next, the average star rating is a 4.08, and that is 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. I was looking forward to this. I do like Holly Jackson's YA murder mysteries. They're always a fun, good time. This one was okay to me. I don't know. It definitely had high stakes, and it was definitely like high adrenaline, but I feel like the ending didn't totally like blow me out of the water. I mean, it was like, okay, like it just wasn't mind-blowing to me. Like I didn't need it to be, I guess, but I was just kind of hoping for more of like a shock factor, I guess, to the twist. But in this book we follow a group of 6 friends who take their parents' motorhome, which I just don't believe teenagers would do. I think I mentioned this in book club, and like everybody in book club was like, do you not know what teenagers do? That's exactly what they do. I'm like, well, that's not what I did as a teenager, because I was holed up in my room reading. So maybe that is what the teenagers do these days, you know, take their parents' motorhome and go camping in the forest. I have no clue, like without permission, just like take it and go. So they're on like this road trip, and they're having nothing but issues with this motorhome, and they like park somewhere, and they're gonna park there for the night and kind of figure things out. And then they are getting shot at by like a machine gun, and things kind of go from there. And it's like, I think it's spanned over a 24-hour period, which I do really like in books. Like I like having that short period of time thing going on. Like that was fun, but I give it 3 stars. Like it was just like, okay, but it kept me company while I worked on a painting, which is fun, but it just was not like, wow, amazing, the best, you know? Next up, with a average rating of 4.04, which is way too low for this book, is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. So like I said, we're going out of order, but that's just the way we're doing it for this wrap up. So I love this. I had to reread this book to read Hellbent though, because as I remembered major plot points, like I remembered how this book ended, I needed to remember what led up to that because I could not remember, and I wanted to make sure that I was fully prepared for Hellbent. And this was a great reread. I think I like this book more on reread because I listened to the audiobook, which is incredible. There's 2 narrators, and they are just the perfect voices for the characters of this book, and they have the same narrator for Hellbent, which I just adored as well via audiobook. So this was just a great time. Truly enjoyed it a lot. 5 stars, easy 5 stars. It was great. I don't really have much to say. Next up, this rating is real low for this book, is 4.01 average rating, and that is Into the Wind-Racked Wilds. I always struggle with that title, by A. Deborah Baker. This is the 3rd book in the Over the Woodward Wall series, which is also tied back to Middle Game, which is great. So honestly, couldn't tell you how it connects back because like I completely forgot, but it's a really fun kind of middle grade whimsical story following these 2 kids who open this door and are swept away into this magical world. It reminds me a lot of the Wayward Children series, only like middle grade kind of. Like, it's just so fun, and there's all these life lessons and morals, and it's just like cozy, and the narration is great for the series as well. So I gave this one, I believe, 4 stars. I feel like it's a 4-star series for me. I just adore them though, and it was a great time. It was just a great time. Right below that at 3.89 we have Along the Saltway Sea, which is book 2. This was great. Had a great time listening to it. It was wonderful. Coming in at 3.73, which is just so low, is The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi. I feel like the reason why this book has such a low average rating is because everybody went into this book thinking it was the next Six of Crows, and I truly don't think it is. I'm not trying to diss this book. I'm not saying it's bad because it's not Six of Crows. I'm just saying everybody went into this book with the wrong expectations. Just because it's a heist novel does not immediately make it Six of Crows. And Six of Crows is its own thing. Like, why does it need to be compared to everything that has a heist in it, you know? So I personally, I think this book reads more new adult, especially book 2. Like, I feel like the characters are just a little more mature and maybe a little more sensual in their relationships, and I really like that for this series. It's very good, and it's just goofy, and the characters are just great. Like Zofia, I would do anything for her, and oh my gosh, I can't even remember all the rest of the characters. Like Layla, Tristan, all of them. Like, they're just great characters, and they're so different from Six of Crows. Like, I really feel like that is the wrong expectation to go into with this book, but I truly enjoyed it. I had to reread this book to read the sequel, which I read in July. You'll hear about it then, and it was a good time. I think I give it 4 stars. My camera's been flashing at me for a little bit, but we got 2 more books to get through. We got this. Okay, next up we have an average rating of 3.7 stars, and that is Over the Woodward Wall by A. Deborah Baker, which is book 1 in that series. It was great. Don't know why that rating is so low, because this series is great. Like, I feel like a lot of people read that book, and then as you can see, the ratings get higher and higher for each book. So the people who are sticking with the series are liking it, but the people who started it didn't seem to like it, maybe? I don't know. It's a great time. Just read it. It's just wonderful. The final book, and I might have a rant about this book, the final book we have comes in at an average rating of 3.45 stars. Hi, we're filming on my phone because I do not have the time nor energy to go grab my battery from the other room. So we're just gonna do this on my phone. I so much apologize for the quality, but I'm filming this on the front camera, which does not help. I really should flip my phone and use the other camera, but we're just being lazy, you know? So it's fine. So the final book is The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz, which I was really intrigued by because of Lala's book club. She was reading this, so I really wanted to read it as well. So this book was mediocre at best. I truly didn't like it that much. I just feel like this book was way too predictable. If you're going to be going into like a forested retreat for writers, it's bound to be creepy and somebody's gonna die. Like, that's just how it goes. And that's exactly what happened in this book. And I did like there was a bit of like an LGBTQ plus plotline going on where a character was like discovering that maybe she's really into women, and the relationship that she had with like her best friend a couple years ago was maybe not so platonic. I mean, like, they were sleeping together, but like her best friend was making it seem like it was all in her head and that she was just delusional. And I feel like that was interesting to read about. I did like that plot line, and there was an interesting ending to this book which I liked, but overall I just felt like it was very predictable. Like, obviously it's a thriller, so obviously somebody's gonna die, and obviously if you're going into the forest for a writing retreat, you're not gonna come out alive, at least not all of you. So it was just predictable to me in that sense, but it was good. I did like the audiobook. I gave it, I believe, like 3 stars. I don't have my phone to use now because I'm filming on it, because I would be using that to check, but I believe it was like 3 stars. It was good. I liked it, but it's not like the most amazing thing I've ever read, but I am glad I read it. And there you have it, y'all. Those are all the books I read in the month of June. So let me know what you read in June, if you can remember that far back, because I can barely remember what I even thought of these books. But thank you all so very much for watching. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you have any other ideas on different ways I can structure my wrap-ups, I would very much love to know, because I just think this is really fun. It's just a little different. Instead of just going in order, like that's just so predictable, let's just be a little unpredictable, because I'm not unpredictable in any aspect of my life besides this, I guess. That is gonna be it for this video, and I will see you all in another one soon.